I never expected my own son to shut me out at Christmas. For weeks, I had looked forward to it, sitting by their tall tree, smelling the turkey, watching him with the family I thought I still had. Instead, as I sat on his leather couch and mentioned making my turkey recipe, he cleared his throat and said, "Dad, you won't be welcome here for Christmas." At first, I thought I'd misheard. He kept his eyes on the coffee table and muttered that Isabella's parents were coming, and they'd prefer if you weren't here. The words hit like a punch. I looked around their living room, the curtains I'd bought, the hardwood floors from my second mortgage, the crown molding I'd charged to my card. Every inch of that house bore my sacrifice, yet I was told I didn't belong. I walked out. The December air slapped my face, but it felt more honest than the warmth I'd left behind. In my truck, I thought about the money I'd poured into their lives. $20,800 every month for 5 years, over $140,000. Not counting the down payment, the furniture, the emergencies. I'd refinanced my house, skipped repairs, lived on sandwiches, all for them. And now? I was an inconvenience. That night, Isabella called. Sweet at first, then sharp. Her parents wanted a certain atmosphere, she said. Not my food, not my music, not my kind of conversation. My kind. She dressed her insults in silk, calling me uneducated, unrefined, someone who didn't belong at her table. She even said Maria, my late wife, knew her place better. Something broke in me. After we hung up, I spread my bank statements across the table and called the bank. I canceled the automatic mortgage transfers that had drained me for half a decade. The word canceled tasted like freedom. Days later, Isabella asked me to pick up her parents from the airport. I played along, but stayed home drinking tea while they waited for hours. That night, they stormed into my house, red-faced, raging that I'd humiliated them. Isabella shrieked about the $40 taxi. I stood my ground. This is my house. Get out. When Cody and Catherine threatened me with their connections, I only repeated, calm as stone, "The lesson is over. You can leave." And they did. Of course, they struck back. A few days later, my face was in the paper. The headline painted me as a cruel old man who had abandoned an elderly couple at the airport during a holiday storm. Lies. But Cody had called in favors, spinning himself as a victim. I didn't rage. I planned. I gathered receipts, bank statements, screenshots of Isabella bragging online about vacations and jewelry I had paid for. I organized it all into folders, 5 years of evidence of my generosity. Then I circled Christmas Eve on the calendar. That night, I dressed in my best suit and drove to their glowing house. Cars lined the street. Guests laughed around the dinner table. I walked in without knocking. 12 faces turned toward me in silence as I set my briefcase on the sideboard and began handing out packets. Inside were the records. Mortgage payments, the down payment, renovations, all of it. Murmurs rose as they read. "Outrageous," someone said. Isabella tried to dismiss me as unstable, but the numbers didn't lie. Then I laid the newspaper article on the table. "Notice how I'm portrayed as unstable, abandoning helpless people. Now see the truth." The guests turned on them. Catherine's friends demanded answers. Cody stammered, calling me mentally unwell, but the evidence was undeniable. I told them I'd been banned from this dinner because my presence was inappropriate, even as I paid for the meal and the roof over their heads. The silence afterward was crushing. Finally, I closed my briefcase and said, "Enjoy the rest of your dinner. It's the last one I'll be paying for." Then I walked out, hearing their social facade crumble behind me. Months later, the letter arrived. Notice of default. 3 missed mortgage payments. Foreclosure loomed over Michael and Isabella's dream house. I set it aside without guilt. For the first time in years, their problems weren't mine. Eventually, Michael showed up, hollow-eyed. He apologized. Christmas, the article, the way they'd treated me. He admitted Isabella's family had mocked me for years, even insulted Maria's memory. I told him he hadn't lost me. He had given me away. He asked if I could forgive him. I said I already had. Forgiveness was mine to give, but it didn't mean things would go back. I wouldn't be their bank again. If he wanted a relationship with me, he'd have to rebuild it with respect, not convenience. When he left, I poured a glass of good whiskey and stepped onto my porch. Spring air carried the promise of change. My phone buzzed with a text from Rosa, inviting me to Sunday dinner with her kids. Real family. People who wanted me there. I smiled, typed back, "Wouldn't miss it," and raised my glass to Maria's picture on the mantel. For the first time in years, I felt free. The man who had been a doormat was gone. What remained was someone who had finally remembered his own worth. And that was the best Christmas gift I could have given myself.